Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. This is G. How the hell are you doing? We are going to go through the chart for August 12th. So it's August 12th in the following 7 days. Well, there could be surprises this week, but let's just take a look at the chart, walk through it together. There is a lot of red on the chart, just to give you a heads up. Some of these things we might have been feeling actually a little bit already ahead of time. The thing is, though, the end of this week does end off with a full moon. So there's that, right? And that's always an increase in emotions, but we'll get there. Let's pull up the chart. Let's talk about it. And if you got any questions, comment below. And if you want to add anything, any input, especially when you hear me talking about signs, whether I'm talking about Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Leo, Virgo, whatever I'm talking about, Cancer, whatever sign I'm talking about, if your keyword's popping into your brain and you're like, wait a minute, she didn't say this. Well, sometimes that happens. What pops out is what pops in my head at the moment of the recording. It's a learning community. Like, that's the whole point here. It's not about right or wrong. It's about, oh gosh, I can add to this. I can enhance this. We can create more value with many minds. We're going to go to the dates that I have written down. Okay, here we are. We are August 12th to the 14th. I got Mars conjunct Jupiter. This is in Gemini. And then it's also going to be conjunct rigel, Rigel. I did a big video about rigel and what it means. It's a fixed star. It's in Gemini. It barely moves. It's pretty darn powerful. Communication, maybe assertive communication. Maybe I'm even a little aggressive in the way that I communicate, right? Gemini. But Gemini is not just about communications. Gemini is the mind, right? The mind. It can be snail mail. It can be emails and text messages and phone calls, but communication and networking is elevated. So this takes us to social media, right? Present day social media, but it's also the news, right? Also the news. And Mars can be, other than assertive and aggressive, it wants to be first. So we're always cautious whenever we get Mars mixed in with the mind energy, because many times we will see, especially different news outlets who might not go by the old school standards. For them, it's more about, I got to be the first to get something done, to get something published, to get something out there, because the consumer will click on me first because of it. Doesn't even matter if the shit's legit. And that's a big caution here. This is for this whole week. It's Jupiter conjunct Mars, conjunct conjunct Rigel in Gemini. So this week, if we back it up, let's look at the chart so we can see where it's at. We see that the week starts off, this chart was drawn up for the 12th. So we see that if this is at the 12th, Mars is already at 15, 16 degrees. 15 degrees in Gemini, Mars, and then right next to it is Jupiter at 16, and our IG is at 17. You see? So they're already conjunct at the beginning of the week. Big information, more news. Remember about being speedy, being first, but there's this expansion, this growth. There's, oh my God, Supreme Court justices, right? Jupiter, someone who has authority, someone who is in power. It challenges beliefs. And it's us bantering back and forth, the conversations possibly at the dinner table, the conversations on the phone, the conversations under videos that we are having, these debates. Gemini is a debate energy, right? Jupiter helps to bring the knowledge. Jupiter can bring the knowledge. It's not always going to be knowledge when it's associated with Mars, because the temptation to just say it first, to strike out first, and I don't mean strike out as in 3 strikes you're out. I mean to literally strike first, right? To jab first, to be the first one to produce something and to publish something, Jupiter. This is also travel energy. You know, the long distance travel is Jupiter. Rules Sagittarius. It's the opposite of Gemini. So we think of really busy energy, busy mind, busy communication, busy short trips, Gemini. Well, when Mars is there, we might be taking short trips. We might be thinking about taking a trip. Because Mars is there, we usually end up doing something. We usually end up taking action with something, right? So maybe you're getting and have been more involved in social media. Maybe you've been more involved in conversations and communications, maybe even writing, maybe even speaking about things you've been writing about. Maybe just it amps up communications with siblings and coworkers and neighbors. That's all Gemini stuff. But it is absolutely about school and what about religion infiltrating, and that's the correct word, I think, infiltrating school. Some are arguing, well, what the hell? Jupiter, religion, my beliefs, my philosophy on life. It has a right to be a part of the public school system. Then who draws the line as to what religion? Who says, oh, but we have to base it on this one religion? And that's part of the big argument here, right? So you're going to teach history, but you're going to teach one particular book, one sacred text, and say this is part of history. So there's some lines there where those are fighting words, where it can create, lawsuits and a whole bunch coming down the pipe, possibly pike, whatever you call it, coming down where it says, we got to fight this. So that would be something that makes sense. And then this Mars joining the rigel energy with the Jupiter, it's hot all this week. Mars only moves 4 degrees this week. So by the end of the week, it's sitting here at 19. Remember that degree. At the same time, between the 12th and the 14th, Mercury, this is specific because Mercury moves fast. So between the 12th and the 14th, you got Mercury sitting 0 degrees Virgo. That's detail energy, details, the minutia can be super critical. The Regulus in Virgo is crazy. I will see people tearing the crap out of each other, nitpicking the crap out of each other for the things that they are writing, right? The comments they're leaving. And it's not like they're bad comments, it's them expressing their opinion. And people are just really tearing each other apart. So Mercury, 0 degrees Virgo, is Regulus, by the way. I didn't write it down here, but it is Regulus. And Regulus feels as though it is the boss, it is the king, it is the one in charge, it is the ultimate authority. There is nobody higher than me. That's Regulus. So if it's in Virgo, it can be quite nitpicky. The caution with 0 degrees is it's always going to be extreme. So Mercury being news, we might be hearing about some stuff, right? Some extreme things, extreme communication. Remember, we talked about Mars being conjunct Jupiter and Rigel. Okay. So the hot time with these numbers is between the 12th and the 14th. By the way, in red, because it's a retrograding Mercury, 15th, the next day, the 15th, Mercury is now 29 degrees in Leo, and Mercury's going to stay in Leo for this week. It's traveling backwards. It's retrograding. Details, known to possibly slow things down because, hey, you forgot to sign this. Hey, there's a paper missing, or there's confusion because there's so many options. Regulus at 29, it's still extreme energy. 29 is extreme, 0 is extreme. 29, this is that, I am the big cheese. I am the boss. And in Leo, well, it's sun energy. It thinks it holds ultimate power, right? It is the ultimate power. It is literally the king. There can be only one, and I am the king. Mercury in Leo conjunct 29 on the 15th. But remember, it's going to keep moving and it's going to go down in numbers, which takes us to the 16th through the 19th. We've got Mercury there conjunct the sun, but that's not all. Mercury conjunct the sun and conjunct Vesta. It's all in Leo, of course, because Mercury is now in Leo. And this conjunction, it's going backwards. So it's traveling backwards, Mercury, traveling backwards from 28 to 24 degrees this week. So keep that in mind for you guys, especially people who have stuff in Scorpio. Any of the fixed signs, Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, between 28 and 24 degrees, between the 16th and the 19th. Okay. And on those dates in particular, things start to heat up even more because, look carefully, look further, I have Uranus drawn in down here. Uranus is here because it sits in fixed Taurus at 27 degrees. Uranus is a slow mover. It's sitting here. It's it was already sitting here. It was already sitting here. Now, this is that little piece, Uranus. I'm the authority figure. We're hearing a lot of common themes here because there's a lot of signs, a lot of planets that operate as authority figures in our lives. So the sun, Uranus, Jupiter, they all think they're the boss. Saturn, we're going to get to that. Saturn in a retrograde in Pisces, we're going to get to it. They all think they're the boss. And so when the boss energy, when they all square off, when they all are like, hey, wait a minute, I'm in charge. Hey, wait a minute, I'm in charge. Like, so what happens? It creates stress and tension. So it's square energy. Lots of strong square energy at the 27 degrees. So this window, the 16th to the 19th, kind of gives us that coverage. But I'm going to include the 15th in this because Mercury being at 29, it's 2 degrees from that 27 mark, right? And we have stuff in Leo. We have multiple things in Leo. We have the sun and Vesta in Leo between these degrees. So it's already angling Uranus by this time. And as it goes on through the week, this stress and tension builds. And then there can be an opportunity, a small window where we might feel a little bit of relief. But then it builds up again because Black Moon Lilith will enter the picture. You see right here in the chart, there's the sun at 20. The sun moves 7 degrees in a week, set 1 degree a day. So the sun is going to end up right where I got this red line, 27 degrees. And you see Mercury in red because Mercury's heading backwards. So Mercury and the sun are like two ships in the night heading towards each other, right? Right. 24 degrees Vesta sits, 24, but Vesta's moving ahead. They're all going to sit here at 27. And there's that Regulus I mentioned that I added on at 0 degrees. Big deal, right? So what's it looking like on the chart? Well, you see right here, Uranus, 27 degrees in Taurus. So now at this 27 degrees, what are we thinking about? What are we discussing? What are we talking? It is an intensification of communications. It can be technology. It can be money with technology and values and money and the tech stocks and an increase in tech stocks. I know we've already heard about the whole big rush with NVIDIA and oh my God, did it already cap out or is it going to go further? Well, again, I'm not an economist, but I'm just trying to fold in some of the stuff that makes sense. But what about banking in general, the banking sector, right? For sure. And the square. You see the red line, right? 27 degrees in fixed to 27 degrees in fixed. Let's back it up just a little. So this gives us you see that red line, right? You see it there. And you see that at the beginning of the week, there's nothing at the 20 to 7. So this is a thing that's building up. It's building. But that's not all. Now, Uranus usually brings us shocking and surprising. Remember Uranus's job, everybody? What's its job? To wake us up. And to wake us up with what? With what had already been a value of ours. And maybe because it had already been a value, we became very stuck in our ways. We became complacent. And Taurus energy is the first one to raise the hand to say, that's me. I want it to just be comfortable and peaceful. And therefore, I become complacent. Taurus is how you make money. Taurus is income. Taurus is what is mine. It is value. It is desire energy. It is earth energy. Other than shocks and surprises, what else do we know about Uranus? Come on. What are some other those keywords? It's friends, isn't it? And group energy. Yes, it's authoritarians and I'm the one in charge and I'm the boss of you. You're not the boss of me, right? Individuality and freedoms. But our friends, and it's a fix on the group and energy and humanitarian values, humanitarian needs. And when we think of the planet and what's good for the planet is good for me, we then realize, holy crap, what's it going to take for corporations to, I don't know, we think of the health of the planet and different things, right? Will corporations stop using plastic? It's killing and poisoning the planet, right? Uranus can bring you visuals and they would be fast, sudden, quick. Right? People are like, oh my God, I got this slam dunk of the visual all of a sudden. That can be that Uranus energy, like a lightning bolt, a flash of inspiration, Uranus energy. We think of the aha moments of the inventors because that's Uranus, inventions, Mars in Gemini with Jupiter, uh, touching in with Rigel, and Mars ends up at 19. I mentioned we were going to get back to this. So here, this is how we get back to it. Might not be written. Yeah, there it is. There's Mars. We go to the 17th and the 20th. I'm still talking about Mars. Okay, Mars and Gemini over here. We go to the 17th to the 20th of this week, and we now have Venus in Virgo, because Venus was already in Virgo. She started the week off at 9. But Venus, by the end of this week, she gets between 17 and 21 degrees. Well, we have Estrella sitting here, right? She ends up, I got this blue line, this blue arrow drawn because Venus and Estrella and Black Moon Lilith end up meeting up here. Right. And you see Black Moon Lilith started the week off retrograding in Libra, conjunct the South Node. South Node's about the past, and it does represent a release. This is very super unbelievably strong moon power, moon energy, closures and endings, releases, diplomacy, diplomatic relationships. We think of lawyers. We think of people who were in partnerships, and these partnerships are ending. Okay, because it's a big release. It's the South Node. There is a change being made, and alliances and allegiances being changed, right? When we think of global, and we think of the grand scale, which is why I mentioned diplomacy and foreign affairs. This would be this energy. Black Moon, Lilith, South Node sitting together, pretty much just right on top of each other. But in 7 days, we got Black Moon sitting over here in Virgo now, 29, 27 degrees by the end of this week, all the way to the 20th, actually. So that takes us to Mars. Virgo is mutable energy. So is Gemini. You see? And what did I say at the beginning? That Mars was going to get to 19. So if Mars is sitting here at the end of the week, gets to 18, 19 degrees, Black Moon Lilith and Estrella kind of get here. To these, they kind of meet before Venus gets there. Estrella, a pit bull, kind of like a pit bull, right? So paying attention to the details, striving for perfection, 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 Virgo. What I like about Venus being involved is Venus wants peace. Yes, she can strive too high for perfection, but she's going to be more cautious. She's going to throw caution into the way somebody speaks their mind. And that's going to be important when you have a stressful square with Mars and Gemini. So when Venus gets there, when Venus is really playing a part in this, it really won't be till the 19th and the 20th that Venus gets high enough in the numbers. Because at the end of this week, I think she's like at 17, 18 degrees. You follow? So Venus is a latecomer to this T square, which is why for this week, between the 17th, 18th, and the 19th, there will be stress and tension. Let me show you the chart that you can see this big T square that's drawn in. And that T square, mutable energy with Virgo, mutable energy with Gemini. And guess what? Mutable energy with Pisces. And what's there? Saturn, and it's retrograding. So it's strong. It's rules, it's structure, it's order, my duty, my responsibility. Like this is my goal, my ambition. Don't get in my way or I'll plow right through you, right? This is, you better follow the rules or you're going to be held accountable. Accountability, responsibility. Saturn energy, boss energy. I'm in charge. It's freaking in a retrograde. So the retrograde intensifies Saturn's power. What is it feeling like it has the power with? Well, all things Pisces. So this is creative energy. It can be spiritual. It can be looked upon as religion and people of the cloth. So you might see or hear from people who are authority figures who may be stepping up. Authority figures are people who may not even be of the cloth, but consider themselves gurus or who are looked upon as spiritual leaders or a spiritual boss in some way. Pisces energy. This is also politicians, unfortunately, in politics. Okay. And I say unfortunate because Pisces can be quite deceptive. It's about the show must go on with Pisces. Okay. It's really used best as a creative energy. So music, musicians, theater, sound of any kind, high sensitivities, Pisces energy. Saturn being here, it will increase sensitivity to those rules. I know for my mom, immediately, I could literally see it in the way she walks whenever Saturn's really strong. She's got a Pisces moon, so a Saturn retrograde in Pisces affects her strongly. And I can see she'll even walk more hunched over. Saturn is the bones and the spine. I could see her walking more hunched over. So it's amazing to see it, um, in her. And even for myself, I could feel it. I could feel the restrictions. It was all of a sudden I felt a little bit older, right? All of a sudden you feel, because Saturn, it rules time. It is old energy, right? So in Pisces, there might be a little bit of that where, oh, I don't know, politicians, some of the age showing. There might be moments where they even seem slower. This can be tricky because Saturn can sober up Pisces energy. And the vision doesn't mean you literally have better vision. It means you see a truth in something you weren't seeing before. You follow? So that is one of the things, because, Pisces is Jesus and the wine. Hey, let's have some. And addictions and fantasy and conspiracy theories, like that is all Pisces energy. United States, Pisces in their third house. People keep asking, I can't believe the United States. Look what's happened. Why do they believe these things, folks? The third house is your freaking mind and what you believe. With Pisces is there, you're unbelievably idealistic, overly idealistic, right? Fairy tale, Hollywood, sci-fi, that is Pisces energy. It's creative. Pisces is also foreigners, foreign lands, right? Something going on over there. Or, like there's a lot of different ways all this energy shows up. But to show you the big picture, it's Saturn at 17, Mars and Jupiter in this big T square, which I'll re-emphasize. We've got Pisces 17. We've got Mars at 15 and 16. So it's the whole week squaring. Saturn's at retrograde, so it's strong, a 2, 3, 4 degree orb for sure. And then we see the square with the Jupiter and Rigel and Mars and Estrella, Black Moon Lilith, and then Venus by the end of the week. So it creates a very strong T square. Okay, very strong. And I'm hoping once Venus gets there, she may talk some sense, although some people would say the details are what people need to be aware of. The energies and this stress and tension that we're feeling and the relevance of communication, the importance of communication. Purple is the combination of red and blue. And if you're saying to yourself and seeing how so many individuals, the country's so divided, we have to become the bridge. If we're going to move forward, the United States is Sagittarius, plain and simple. That's the sign that it sits on our ascendant, is Saggy energy. We are a country made up of people from all over the world. I am a third generation in this country. That's it. A third generation. Where are your people from? How many generations of your people are from here? The Saggy is about exploring and immersing yourself in another culture. It is to expand your mind to consider another belief. It doesn't mean you need to adopt it as your belief. It means you have found your truth. And by you finding your truth, you honor others to have their own truth. Sagittarius is very much about freedom, but it doesn't believe in just freedom for me. It's freedom for all. That's Sagittarius energy. All right. It honors freedom. It honors wisdom and truth. It's Jupiter energy. It's wise. The ways forward is together. 19th, this takes us to the 9th. The 19th is the full moon. All right. So that's going to be a full moon in Aquarius energy, folks. 27 degrees. We get a foreshadow. Why? Because Uranus sits in Taurus at 27. And not only is it sitting here in Taurus at 27, but you heard me mention 27 degrees in Leo, right? What's going to be sitting here? The sun is going to be sitting here. Mercury is going to be sitting here, right? There's a lot of stuff. There's a big T-square, a big T-square. So we're going to have a foreshadow of this full moon that we talked about between the 16th and the 19th. We have our foreshadow moment because Mercury will be opposing 27 degrees of Aquarius, and Uranus was already squaring the 27 degrees of Aquarius. So use this video, use this information to look up the degrees in your chart. There is a full moon video for Aquarius out. I will attach it here or put a picture here. Go watch and get the rest of the details, okay, to get the foreshadow, right? That happens on the 19th, and that's where the next week video picks up, the 7 days of August 19th and the following 7 days. All right, so if you have something that you want to add, go right ahead, put some comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember, I always appreciate your time. Take care.